Ladies and gentlemen, it has been far too long. I've been gone. I've been away. I've been streaming a lot. Speaking of, before anything, a little bit of an incident happened in my recent YouTube streams, and now I'm having to put more security on it, and I'm gonna have to leave YouTube for a little while. If you want to catch me streaming, even still, if you have any interest in it, I will leave a Twitch link here in the description below. Also, you can go ahead and visit me. I'm trying to make this goal here. It's a little bit of a fun goal, but basically I'm trying to make it so that I become a full-time streamer. If you want to help me out with that, yes, please come and visit me on my streams, and if you're interested, stay around. If not, I'm sorry. Anyway, let's go on to the video. So this is going to be a discussion. 14 has been out for quite a while. I have to say that everything has gone, up and down. There's been some good things, there are some bad things, and I want to give you guys a full scope of what I think of Stormblood, of the patches of 4.1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm pretty sure 5 is coming around the corner in around December or January, and I want to give you guys what I think, my opinion on how Stormblood went through thus far. So, this is going to be a discussion, there is no script, and I do apologize if I sound like I'm slurring a lot, because I have no script in front of me, I'm sorry. Let's get straight to the point. Stormblood has stagnated through the recent months, and to be honest, I think it's because of what's been added to the game. The game itself has been adding a lot of things that really wasn't, something that we wanted to go back to a lot of times. In the recent 4.4 patch, it now encourages us to come back, because we're getting ourselves ready for 4.5, which is getting us ready for the next expansion. So we're now getting something called Tombstones of Genesis, and we're trying to get our, basically our 390, 380, I think it's 390 gear now, and we're trying to get closer to eye level 400, which, honestly, they should have brought that out a patch ago, but now we're getting into this situation now. We've just recently finished the Omega Trials. We're done with the Omega Trials. Now we have the Savage versions, or the Extreme versions, I'm sorry, of the Omega Trials, and well, we've just been going through a whole lot of things that, to be honest, didn't bode well for a lot of people, including myself, which actually made me lose my luster and pretty much lost my interest in making videos for the damn game, the very game that I really love, and I'm pretty much basing my entire channel around. So, let's talk about the reason why people fell out of that game. Now, if you're the kind of person that, you have the utmost attention to get your weapons all the way up to a certain level, or you're over and over and over again trying to beat that Savage mode or the Extreme mode, good for you. However, for me, I guess now I am defined as a casual, and, well, to be honest, I like raiding. I love raiding in a game. I would rather sit down, come in, have a raid or two with friends, extreme raids, like the series content, to be honest, learn how to do that, and I'd rather do that than just sit around and honestly level up gear and get all this stupid loot box thing. So the first thing I want to address is that we have something called Eureka. Basically, you get shot back to level 1, you are now going through an island, leveling up your elemental levels, I guess, and now you are grinding your ass off to get the new, what we have is the new relic gear. This relic gear that back in the past you would just do Savage and Extreme raids and trials and dungeons in order to get the materials you need in order to get your relic weapons, and honestly I was looking forward to that, but not this time. They made it different. Now you have your old gear being beefed up. They're not even reskinned, it's literally your old job gear. Let me just put that out. Your job gear is being upgraded. You have to go through a place called Eureka, and right now we're in Pagos, and I can't get into Pagos because I don't have a 24 man to go through Eureka with me to get me up to level 20 to finish that story. Should I have done it a long time ago? Yes, but the place doesn't encourage that. The place is a grind fest. It was boring. Nobody, unless you were really, really, really into it and you just wanted to complete the content, really wanted to go to Eureka. People now going into Eureka, there's nobody there. Nobody at all. There's like maybe a couple people who actually have a close-knit FC who can go through Eureka and actually complete that and, you know, gain the levels and stuff. And I don't have like a FC for that. I'm a lone wolf. I'm on my own, and I don't have anybody to look towards to except for my friends who have already done Eureka. They're done Eureka. They went through it. And to be honest, unless you were playing that first week, the place was boring right after that. After the first maybe 5 days, Eureka got real boring. Eureka was a place where they really wanted you to grind. They really wanted you to grind out these little coins, these little things that'll help you upgrade your gear. And to be honest, I didn't have the time to do all that. Not a lot of people have time to do all that. Going in and doing an extreme dungeon to get the materials that you need is a lot easier than spending hours after hours in a place where you're utterly bored. And if you were underleveled, you were just sitting there reviving people or, you know, getting pot shots in. You weren't really doing much of anything. You were just tagging along in this giant train. Eureka was implemented bad, and honestly, even though it's supposed to reference Final Fantasy XI, 11 had a lot of things bad going with it, and it really didn't work with it. The game is centered around grinding and being in a party, but when you have to force like 36 people to go around in a train to kill all the notorious monsters in an island just to get this new, now you have to get up to level 20 level, which wasn't fast, and yeah, sure, they have you do achievements to gain your levels. It didn't fix anything, and I'm still not encouraged to do Eureka. Now we're on Pagos, no one's in Eureka, and now I can't get to Pagos because no one's doing Eureka. And that's a problem. That's one of the things that shot me out of 14 Stormblood. Now everything else, that's, you know, it's okay. The Omega's challenges, that's fine, but you know, you beat those in like a couple days. You're not really encouraged to do the extremes unless, like I said, you have a dedicated FC, or perhaps you had friends that really want to go in. Going in with randos usually you don't come out with like the best things ever. You need to have like close-knit friends, which is my fault. I don't have a static. I'm not in a static. I wish I did have a static, but when I choose my static, I go hardball. I get serious. I want to learn everything about this big content. If I can learn everything about it, I will do it every day. But I have not met people like that, and I would certainly love to be able to do all the content that came in the past with the extreme stuff. Every Omega Savage, like the best one I've done so far was probably the first 4. The second 4 was great, but I honestly didn't make it up to, well, I made it Kefka. I made it to Kefka like once, but content was too hard. People couldn't do it. It was too hard for a lot of people, and at the same time, you needed to hardball just to get to the proper eye levels to play with randos. And a lot of people just wanted to play casualty, sorry about that. They wanted to play as casuals, you know, hang out and, you know, build up the gear, craft a lot. Myself, I was also looking forward to a lot more things other than that. Like I said, didn't have a static to go into, my fault in itself, but there wasn't anything else to distract me. Where in Heaven's Word, the relic weapons was the biggest thing. Because the relic weapon was a big thing in Heaven's Word, and the way you got your relic weapons was to go back and do the hard mode of the dungeons, whether it be randos or not, that was what encouraged a lot of people to keep playing. Also, the dungeons, the dailies, they were fine. I loved Neverreap when we first went in. I mean, it was great. Kagane Castle and the other dungeon that I am losing the name of as of right now, Temple of the Fist. Yeah, Temple of the Fist. Okay, both of those were fine. They're fine. I liked both. I like both Heaven's Word and Stormblood's after story dungeons. They're great. However, Heaven's Word had a bit of a hook. Alexander was a thing, and even after that, it was the relic weapons, and even after that, it was hanging out with your friends. Stormblood, same thing, hang out with your friends, but you were not really incentivized to go into the extremes to get any kind of like build up relic weapon. You know, you had Eureka, which really blindsided a lot of people. So the biggest difference here, the reason why people honestly fell out of Stormblood, was probably mainly Eureka. Whereas Heavensward didn't have that, they just had here, you build up your relic weapon. You have to do a whole bunch of tasks to get your relic weapon at the point where you want it to be glowing and powerful, whereas you have to go through this boring, grindy place, and it still doesn't help. Now no one can go into Eureka and actually find anybody. It's barren. It's like Diadem, and Diadem is barren. No one's going into Eureka to finish their, you know, their supposed relic gear, because it was boring. It was grindy. Nobody wants to play a game as grindy as that. Maybe Japan. I don't know. I might be wrong. Japan may not like grindy games. I mean, certainly Monster Hunter is a thing, and that game is grindy as shit, but there's something fun about Monster Hunter. Hunting down monsters, beating the monsters, tracking it down, getting its part, making the equipment, getting stronger. That's, you know, that's the thing of Monster Hunter. However, 14, it's not Monster Hunter, even though they did this thing with Monster Hunter with the Rathalos. Honestly, I would like to make a static just to grind the shit out of the Rathalos. 14 doesn't have the charm of Monster Hunter World or something like that. 14 is an MMO, and if you make something boring, grindy, you have to do it over and over, it became monotonous, and even still you have to go back over there, it becomes more monotonous, and you're saying, oh, but you're doing it with a whole bunch of friends and stuff. It doesn't help. It's not fun. The most fun I actually got was doing the Savage content for the Omegas, and a lot of people, a lot of my friends fell out of that because they didn't want to do extremely hard stuff anymore. They didn't want to be stressed out. They didn't want to be beaten to death with the content that is, you know, Kefka or X-Death, and then finally Omega. The thing here is that people want to have content that'll keep them awake, keep them coming back for more, wanting to achieve something. The big pull for Heavensward was really the relic weapon and just building that up. You didn't have to be a craftsman to get the relic weapon. You just needed to do these daily tasks. You eventually build up enough resources to get your relic weapon, and people were just grinding to get that. And even for their other classes, people came back for that. Stormblood doesn't have that, so to say, in the best possible way. They have Eureka, and nobody's doing Eureka anymore. We're on Pagos, and even when you're doing Pagos, it gets grindy, it gets boring, and it's just not fun. You see, the next time 14 does something like this, people are going to fall out of the game because it's grindy and boring. And like I said, I don't know where other places like Japan, maybe they like grindy stuff. Maybe Europe is the same way, but they're kind of similar to us. Canada's also similar to us. Maybe Australia, which honestly they're also similar to us. I don't know. I honestly don't know. To be honest, Stormblood, when it came out with Eureka, that's where I fell out. When I can't reliably build up a relic weapon where I am basically forcing myself because I want to come back on to do something fun to make sure that I can get my relic weapon to the next step, I was okay with that. I was like that in Heavensward. Stormblood, no hint of it at all. Eureka kind of failed. And like I said, though it's a reference to Final Fantasy XI, you didn't have to do it this way. Square, you didn't have to do it this way. Yoshida, I know you meant all things good about it, but it wasn't the best idea. Like, I was waiting for you to come up with a new sport, you know, like Blitzball, because there's a swimming mechanic in 14. That's one thing that I thought was like, oh, you have swimming now? I know it's coming eventually, right? It's coming. No, we got Rival Wings? I don't know. Rival Wings is alright, I guess, and people continued the feast. Recently I saw some dude on a mount because they were like top 20 in the feast, and I was like, oh, that's fucking fantastic. But the game lost me when things got boring, when there was nothing to do, because I'm not going for the relic weapons. I could have done the Savage content, but, you know, casuals don't really want to do that hard stuff. They just want to go in and be able to achieve something. Finally, we have Genesis, and we have Genesis tomestones, and now we're coming back in. Now there's something to do. Now there's something to build up for. We're waiting to get our 390 weapon now. We're rising up ahead. We're now able to actually do the content that was so hard for casuals to do. Now they can fight up there with the extremes, with the people who come in every day to grind their ass off, to know the patterns of this whole hard content. To be honest, I wish I was one of those people who can actually do the hard content and come in every day with the static and beat the ass of Kefka, X-Death, and Omega. I wish I was one of those people, but I don't. I don't have a static, and I can't force like my friends who are casual to do something so miserable and stressful. Recently, I went through a mental breakdown because of a lot of stress built up inside me, and I went into a dark place. And 14 was one of my outlets to, you know, express my emotion, to get on and play with some friends. Even though I streamed stuff like Splatoon, which to be honest, it built up some stress because, you know, people can be mean in that. And Mario Kart is not the best outlet. 14 was always a reliable place, but I didn't want to go back to that because it was boring. It was entirely boring. I didn't want to do Eureka, and I didn't have anybody for Savage because, you know, I'm a fucking casual, I guess. To be honest, Stormblood is a good expansion, but it wasn't great like Heaven's Word. Heaven's Word brought a lot of stuff to us. It brought a great story. Stormblood has a good story, but it isn't great. There was so much shit in Heaven's Word that I wanted to analyze. There were so many things, like, you know, the fucking where the Mughals came from and the dragons. You got a little bit more history in that. Stormblood, it's all about the Garleans. We just fight the Garleans. I know they're our main enemy, but there's nothing really to know about them. They're invaders. There's nothing to learn about Garleans. We just needed to kick them the fuck out. We saw Othard. There was the best place in Stormblood was Azim Steppes, and that's where I learned a whole bunch of things. Other than that, it's just, oh, it's Alamigo, we gotta kick the fucking Garleans out of the place. Goodbye. And Othard, hey, we're just gonna kick them the fuck out too. Goodbye, Garleans. And now there wasn't really much to learn except for the Azim Steppe. Everything else, they just told you. Everything they told you. It was nothing to figure out. They even gave us like a giant book in physical form and to tell you a whole bunch of shit. But the best part about Heaven's Word was figuring shit out. Figuring out how all this worked. One of the dungeons, the tower, I believe it's called the, what was it called? I kind of forgot what it was called, but I believe it was one of the ending dungeons. It was a big fucking tower that we had to go into, and to be honest, it was a great place. I can't really remember what it was called, but I'm going to get it like in 3 fucking seconds now. The goddamn anti-tower. Sorry, I forgot about that for a second. But the anti-tower was honestly a very interesting dungeon that I wanted to wholly explore, and I never got the chance. Stormblood doesn't have really anything like that. Everything was like, you know, pre-made, or, you know, it's like Doma Castle. Doma Castle was great. I loved it. I loved Doma Castle. I liked Barnum's Metal. But there wasn't a lot for me to go off as a person who looks into lore and stuff. Honestly, Stormblood lacked a little bit. I had to be honest, it lacked a lot compared to Heaven's Word. Heaven's Word kept just bringing out stuff, throwing in our faces. We had a goal. Let's finish this relic weapon so we can be super powered and have this glowy weapon sticking out of our backs. Stormblood made it a little bit more difficult. In fact, they made it boring. Your greatest enemy was how much you can pay attention and how much time you had to put into this new relic gear. To be honest, what I was looking forward to in Stormblood was Blitzball and swimming. I was looking forward to that. I mean, they came with swimming in Stormblood and flying in Heaven's Word, and I can understand the flying in Heaven's Word. That was fun. And the only big thing that people had to complain about was, oh, I have to go around this whole entire area to be able to fly. It's like, because you would skip it if you didn't, but okay. And swimming, whatever, it's not really the same thing. You could just go in and swim. But I was expecting like better stuff implemented when it came to swimming, like fighting underwater or playing blitzball underwater. I'm honestly waiting for that to happen. And to be honest, they only had 2 jobs in Stormblood compared to 3, which are all different classes in Heaven's Word. the whole, oh, we're gonna give you 2 DPS because, you know, because of that. No, no. Just, you know, Samurai and Red Mage, whatever. I mean, we knew Samurai was coming, and then Red Mage was coming. But compared to the fact that we were getting a Dark Knight tank, an Astro Healer, and a Machinist DPS ranged, you know, because there was only Archer, that was great. But Red Mage and Samurai does not compare to those 3. I mean, I love Red Mage and I like Samurai, but Stormblood just was lacking. It was lacking in the end game, just kind of fell off for a lot of us. It was stuff to do in the beginning, and then it was like, hey, here's some more stuff, and it slowly trickled in, but we were only getting it like through like a little straw, and then eventually we got Eureka, which was supposed to tie us down, but it was boring for a lot of us, so we fell off. A couple of streamers that I know, a lot of friends that I know, started playing other games because they were bored. A friend of mine, Thamriel, went into VR chat because there was nothing happening in 14. I went to goddamn Splatoon and I got a Switch, and you know, I thank everybody for that Switch because I got it from my stream. They gave me a Switch because I was basically fucking bored, and I'm starting to play Splatoon. I'm okay at the game and I really like it, but my main thing is that I want to come back to 14. So if something happens in 14, like now I'm interested in getting back into 14 because now there's something to do. A little late though, because I'm like with my eyebrows raised and I'm like, okay, I'll see how long this lasts. Something like this can be dangerous for an MMO, and you can't just have, oh, something to tie us down and make it grindy as fuck. And you may say it's a reference to Final Fantasy XI, but that could be dangerous. Something so grindy can be something that'll literally just break the bond that you have with your players, with your gamers. You should try something else. There were a lot of suggested ideas, and the way that you implemented the expansion of Stormblood was okay, but it was lackluster compared to Heavensward. That's all I really have to say. If you guys have a different opinion, please let me know in the descriptions, or in the comments, sorry about that, in the comments down below. In the descriptions, however, I did take out my Discord link, because I was having a little bit of problems, as I said before, but if you want to join the Discord that I have, join me in my streams. And like I said, I will be mainly on Twitch now, and I will be playing 14. Again, if you have any questions, if you want tips or guides on something, like I said, you can ask me on stream. And even afterwards, I do have like after stream things. I'll try to be up. I'm going to try to upload my streams on YouTube still, but mainly I'm going to be on the Twitch, you know, little problems here and there on YouTube here. And it's really getting bad. It's kind of toxic over here on YouTube. For the most part, it was great, but now it's getting kind of bad. So I'll see you guys next time. Maybe it's not going to be on something so negative. I wanted it to just be informative as to why there hasn't been content for 14 and why I kind of fell out of it for a little while and why you guys were seeing a whole bunch of Splatoon and Nintendo shit on my channel. But that's about it. I'll see you guys later, and stay cool, stay chill, have fun. I'll see you later.